or you end up voting for someone that's partly true to what you want and partly untrue.
Yeah.
But still, that's not an act of rebellion.
Hello again. Suzanne has another topic to inform us about, and today we're talking about breakups.
I'm talking about two historical breakups and how the people who revolted had to rise to the occasion, or else make good of the consequences or after effects.
So what context are we talking?
The first breakup that I'm thinking of is the American colonies declaring their independence from Great Britain. You have the Revolutionary War. It started because they objected to a king making their laws who lived overseas. And they complained most bitterly about taxes being levied without the colonists' consent. Okay, so you had the American Revolution, in which the colonies declared themselves free of Britain. But now what? What was going to happen now? How were the 13 colonies supposed to run themselves? They did not want to have a kingdom because that was what they had rebelled against. So for this reason, they weren't sure what kind of government to have, so that in 1787 in Philadelphia, they set up what's called the Constitutional Convention, and that committee was headed by a chosen person, the president, not president of the U.S., just a president for that committee. And in the course of the months that followed, the colonial lawmakers made up our system of government as we've known it ever since. They broke away from one system and started another.
Were we unique at the time? I don't recall, as a democracy or as a republic. Were we the only one at that point?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't recall. I know they talk about the Magna Carta and giving lords.
that was the Magna Carta was much earlier. That was long before Columbus rediscovered America.
Yeah.
Magna Carta was a revolt of the English nobility against oppressive actions of the king, and the Magna Carta was a document the king was forced to sign, reducing his powers and giving the citizens more say in their everyday affairs.
But I mean, that one was a step towards democracy, at least for the lords. But was the Constitution, was that a brand new thing? Had anyone done that before? I don't remember.
It's a unique document, I guess.
I know that in my 7th grade civics classes, it said that some of the states, not responding to federal government, but some states made up their own constitutions, and they either revised them from time to time or they made new constitutions.
Yeah.
For the constitutions for the state government, not the federal government.
At the state level, yeah.
Okay, so that's one breakup, and you said there was another breakup.
The other breakup was the revolt of the southern states against the northern states over the question of slavery in the South. And the South refused to give up slavery because many unskilled hands were necessary in harvesting crops, because the South was mostly agricultural. But when the southern states seceded from the others, all the only experience they had was a central government that was run by a president. So they sort of copycatted what they had before, making up their own federal government with another person, Jefferson Davis, heading the group of states.
Okay, so what was your train of thought to bring this as a topic of breakups? Like, what are we really talking about?
I'm talking about how, yes, the Declaration of Independence says if a system of government doesn't suit the populace, it's the populace's right to, quote, alter or abolish it and set up a new form of government, and so on, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, when we were discussing what topics you're going to bring up, like, what was the specific reason that you wanted to talk about this?
Because in one instance, an organization rebelled against a certain system of government, that in this case a kingdom, and made up a whole other kind of government. But with the secession of the southern states from the northern states, the southern states didn't make up a whole new government. They copycatted what they had already had because that was the only experience they had.
I see. So you look at that as sort of like variations of a different divorce.
Yes.
Okay.
Something I had not thought about before.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Just like people get divorced, different things happen.
I didn't quite get that.
I'd say when two people get divorced, you can have a friendly divorce or a nasty divorce or something in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Variation of the same. Okay. So what's the main lesson that we should learn from this? Is there one?
Throughout history, there are always instances of separating and continuing with either the same system or creating a whole new system.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is sometimes you don't have to destroy the old system, you just have a variation of that, and sometimes they do destroy the old system.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is there something going on today that gave you those kind of thoughts?
I can't think of any offhand. Besides, there may be more than one going on simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just thinking, is there anything going on today in the U.S. that on a political scene that might give you some sort of, ideas that is there something like that can happen again?
Yeah.
You think so? Okay. All right. So should we add anything to this, or are we wrapping it up?
Well, I'd say that any present day American students still in school who have to take courses in U.S. history should keep my information in mind when they're studying the periods of the American Revolution and the periods just before the Civil War.
Or when they're voting, right? Or when they're voting.
No, I wouldn't really say when they're voting. Because they know the candidates, and they're not trying to remove someone from office or put someone in office. They're voting people that they want into certain positions, but there was no tremendous amount of discontent or challenge.
Well, you don't want to vote for someone that's going to work against you. So, because then it makes it worse, and then you end up in a bad system.
Or you end up voting for someone that's partly true to what you want and partly untrue.
Yeah.
But still, that's not an act of rebellion.
No.
Well, partly true, partly untrue. That's every politician.
Yeah.
They never tell you the whole story, right? Sadly. Right? So your examples are more about rebellion against the system,
Yes.
and how it can go two different ways.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And you feel that we live in a climate that's possible again. Sadly.
Yes.
All right. Well, the lesson that we should probably take from this is study history and learn what happened in the past so you don't repeat it necessarily, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's
Yes.
important to study that. And see, when you were in school, you had civics classes. And today, they don't teach that in school anymore. As far as I know, there's no civics classes anywhere, right?
I've seen some, yeah.
But not like it used to be,
Probably not.
which is a shame. Well, thank you, Suzanne, for this comparison and the sort of a warning in a way. And we'll discuss another topic soon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.